Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradhare Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradhare Jaya Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradhare Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Stotra Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Stotra Shri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaja Prabhupada Ki Jai. Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Shad Goswami Ki Jai. Vemsika Ho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyamakund Radhakund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Shri Mayapur Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Shri Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Grand Third Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Hare Krishna. So continue our morning readings on Srimad Bhagavatam. This is going to be Canto 9, Chapter 7, texts from 8 to 20. And we can recite text number 20, read the translation purport, and then after this, read all the texts assigned today. So let's begin. Sashtam Samvatsaram Tatra Charitva Rohitaha Purim Upavajan Upavrajan Ajigartat Akrinan Madhyamam Sutam Sunashepam Pashum Pitre Pradaya Samavandata. Before I begin, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay, so text 20, 7th chapter, canto 9, synonyms. Oh no, we recite now. Sashtam samatsvaram tatra charitva rohitam purim upavrajan ajigartad akrinan madhyamam sutam sunashipam pashum pitre pradaya samavandata. Sashtam samatsaram tatra charitva rohita purim upavrajan ajigartad akrinan madhyamam sutam sunashepam pashum pitre pradaya samavandata. Shashtam samatsaram tatra charitva rohita purim upavrajan ajigartat akrinan madhyamam sutam sunashepam pashum pitre pradaya samavandata. Okay. Snakshepam pashum pitre pradaya samavandata.
Shashtam samvatsaram tatra charitva rohita purim pradyan ajigartad akrinan madhyamam sutam shunasepam pashum pitre
Shashtam, the 6th Samvatsaram year. Tatra, in the forest. Charitva, wandering. Rohitaha, the son of Hariścandra. Purim, in his capital. Upavrajan went there. Ajigartat, from Ajigartha. Akrinat, purchased. Madhyamam, the second. Sutam, son. Shunashepam, whose name was Shunashepa. Pashum, to use as the sacrificial animal. Pitre, unto his father. Padaya, offering. Samavandata, respectfully offered his obeisances. Translation. Thereafter, in the 6th year, after wandering in the forest, Rohita returned to the capital of his father. He purchased from Ajigartha his second son, named Shunashepa. Then he offered Shunashepa to his father, Hariścandra, to be used as a sacrificial animal, and offered Hariścandra his respectful obeisances. For bird. It appears that in those days a man could be purchased for any purpose. Hariścandra was in need of a person to sacrifice as the animal in the yajna, and thus fulfill his promise to Varuna. And a man was purchased from another man for this purpose. Millions of years ago, animal sacrifice and slave trade both existed. Indeed, they have existed since time immemorial. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Vanchakalpatrubhishcha kripa sindhubheva patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Nama Om Vishnu Paraya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvichesha Shunyavari Paschatya Deshatarine. So, immediately when I read this pastime, I was confused. And then I remembered that there was an incident similar to this one in the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the 5th canto, when Jadabharata was also tempted to be sacrificed before Bhadra Kali. And I just want to take a look at this pastime and see what Srila Prabhupada says, see what Srimad Bhagavatam says. We remember that Jadabharata, this is his 3rd life. At first he was King Bharat, being attached to the deer, and then he took birth as a deer, and then he manifested himself before the public eye as a madman, dull, blind, and deaf. This is his 3rd birth. And he did that because he didn't want to he did not want to have contact with anyone for material reasons. And it's described here that he was absorbed completely in devotional service, but within. And his father, he tried to teach him how to be a Brahmana. And he would tell him different things. You know, he would try to teach him how to do fire sacrifice, how to be clean, how to study the Vedas, and serve a spiritual master and different things. And once he instructed him to, after evacuating, you should wash your hands. You should do that. But Jadabharata would do the opposite. He would wash his hands before evacuating. And so he was not trying to be a learned Brahmana. He just wanted to live a life of renunciation and focus on his internal bhajan. And then after the death of his father, he had 9 stepbrothers, and they also didn't understand what was the intention of Jadabharata, what his position was. It's described that his body was very strong, and his limbs were very muscular. When he would sleep in winter, he would not use any covering. And also his body was dirty, and his spiritual effulgence and knowledge covered, just as the splendor of a valuable gem is covered by dirt. So that he did it purposely. He was a Paramahamsa. Bhagavad Gita describes that if you become free from duality, sama dukkha sukham dira samritadvaya kalpate, then you are eligible for eternal life. So this was the qualities of Jadabharat. He was a Paramahamsa. And so on one incident, we know that a group of dacoits, one of their leaders, he wanted to beget a son. And to do that, he worshipped Bhadrakali, Durga. And they captured a man, but he escaped. So they needed someone else to be offered as a sacrifice to the deity. And then they came upon seeing Jadabharata in a paddy field where he was meditating. And so they captured him, but he did not protest at all. He was completely surrendered. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur describes the surrender, and he says that Marabi rakhabe yo ichat tohara nitya dasa prati tuya adhikara. My Lord, I am now surrendered unto you. I am your eternal servant, and if you like, you can kill me, or if you like, you can protect me. So kill me or protect me, doesn't matter to me. I am surrendered. I just want to serve you. And so one very important verse in this Srimad Bhagavatam, this is 5.9.15. There's a couple of them, and especially commentaries by Srila Prabhupada. So 5.9.15. The thieves, they captured Jadabharata and they wanted to dress him, bathe him, decorate him with ornaments, spray his body with scented oils, tilaka, sandalwood pulp, and garland. There's one important word in Sanskrit here in 5.9.15, svavidhina. That means according to their own ritualistic principles. So what these dacoits are doing is not actually shastric, it's according to their own ritualistic principles. So that's speculation. In the purport to this text, Srila Prabhupada says that tamasic shastras give instructions for the sacrifice of an animal, like a goat or buffalo, before the goddess Kali. But there's no mention of killing a man, however dull he may be. So this process, what the dacoits are doing, is a manufactured process. And Srila Prabhupada gives an example. In Calcutta, there was once a slaughterhouse, and people would go there and buy meat. And among the people, it was known that this is prasadam from the Durga Devi. But that's completely bogus. That's foolish to say that. So another purport here that I'd like to take a look at is 5.9.17. Here we know that Kali comes out of the deity form, and she becomes really angry at all the people trying to kill Jadabharata. And so there's only one reason why you would kill someone according to Shastra, according to the Vedas. And that reason is also mentioned in the commentaries to the first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Does anyone remember what that reason is? Would kill a human according to Shastra.
Well, there's that thing in the Manusmriti, right? If somebody sets fire to your house.
Yeah. Yeah, in self-defense. If you come across an aggressor who's trying to, there's 6 reasons actually. If he gives you poison, or she gives you poison, sets fire to the house, attacks with deadly weapons, plunders riches, and then occupies your land, and then kidnaps your wife. Then killing is sanctioned by the Shastra. Any other purposes on this is not sanctioned. So Srila Prabhupada says, only thieves and rogues in the modes of passion and ignorance and maddened by material opulence offer a man in sacrifice before the goddess Kali. This is not sanctioned by the Vedic instructions. So goddess Durga came out of the deity form, and she actually decapitated all the rogues and thieves. and with the same sword that they wanted to kill Jadabharata. And she was drinking their blood, and then also playing with their heads like a ball. Not only goddess Kali, who came out of the deity form, but also her followers. And interestingly, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, this one text, which concludes, one of the concluding texts on this chapter 5, 9, 19, which is quite related to what we hear in this canto. It says, when an envious person commits an offense before a great personality, he is always punished in the way mentioned above. So if you do that, you'll be decapitated by Kali. We say that when you offend a Vaishnava, you fall in Maya. So this is what will happen. Maya will come and decapitate you. So this is just to confirm that the Vedas, they don't sanction any human sacrifice. And I'd like to come back to, or come now read the texts which are given, assigned now. This is text number 8. I will not read the Sanskrit, just the translation. So Hariścandra had no son and was therefore extremely morose. Once therefore, following the advice of Narada, he took shelter of Varuna and said to him, "My lord, I have no son. Would you kindly give me one?" O King Parīkṣit, this is 9, Hariścandra begged Varuna, "My lord, if a son is born to me, with that son I shall perform a sacrifice for your satisfaction." So Hariścandra is begging Varuna to give him the son. And he is saying that I will offer this son for the sacrifice. I will give it to you as a sacrifice. So what's the use? But the theme of Srimad Bhagavatam here in the 9th canto is, as we learn, is Kama Rupa, or Kama Esha, Krodha Esha Rajaguna Samudbhavaha. So that's an example of someone, a king, who is affected by lust to such a degree that he's willing to get a son and offer back as a sacrifice to the same person he's begging it from, Varuna. So when Hariścandra said this, Varuna replied, "Let it be so." Because of Varuna's benediction, Hariścandra begot a son named Rohita. Text 10. Thereafter, when the child was born, Varuna approached Hariścandra and said, "Now you have a son. With this son you can offer me a sacrifice." In answer to this, Hariścandra said, "After 10 days have passed since an animal's birth, the animal becomes fit to be sacrificed." So he wants to postpone giving the son to him because of his attachment. When you beget a child, you become attached to son or daughter. After 10 days, Varuna came again and said to Hariścandra, "Now you can perform the sacrifice." Hariścandra replied, "When an animal grows teeth, then it becomes pure enough to be sacrificed." Another reason. So if an animal grows teeth, then it can be pure enough to be sacrificed. Animal or man, animal, or in this example, his son. When the teeth grew, Varuna came and said to Hariścandra, "Now the animal has grown teeth and you can perform the sacrifice." Hariścandra replied, "When all his teeth have fallen out, then it will be fit for sacrifice." Teeth will grow? No, now they have to fall out to be, for that son to be eligible for sacrifice. So he's postponing. Text 13. When the teeth had fallen out, Varuna returned and said to Hariścandra, "Now the animal's teeth have fallen out, and you can perform the sacrifice." But Hariścandra replied, again postponing, "When the animal's teeth grow in again, then he will be pure enough to be sacrificed." So he loses teeth, grows them back, and then they grow again, and you become pure enough to be sacrificed. Text 14. When the teeth grew again, Varuna came and said to Hariścandra, "Now you can perform the sacrifice." But Hariścandra then said, "O king, when the sacrificial animal becomes a kshatriya and is able to shield himself to fight with the enemy, then he will be purified." So another reason, another way to put something off is that my son has to be a kshatriya, he has to be able to shield himself to fight with the enemy. Then only he'll be eligible for sacrifice. Hariścandra was certainly very much attached to his son, and because of this affection, he asked the demigod Varuna to wait. Thus Varuna waited and waited for the time to come. And the son, Rohita, could understand, text 16, that his father intended to offer him as an animal for sacrifice. So he grew older and realized that this is what's happening to me. I will be sacrificed. My father is going to send me to Varuna to be sacrificed. So therefore, just to save himself from death, he's a kshatriya, he equipped himself with bow and arrows and went to the forest. So Hariścandra waited till his son became intelligent enough to be able to protect himself and escape. This is a tactic, right? Interesting. When Rohita heard that his father had been attacked by dropsy, this is a disease, swallowing disease, which is usually linked to problems with liver, heart, or your body becomes swollen. In this example, Rohita, his father, he is attacked by dropsy due to Varuna. This is Varuna is being displaced, so he's experiencing this. And that his abdomen had grown very large, and he wanted to return to the capital, but King Indra forbade him to do so. Rohita wants to go back, but Indra says, better you go to pilgrimage. Yeah, don't come back. And that's mentioned in the next text. King Indra advised Rohita to travel to different pilgrimage sites and holy places, for such activities are pious indeed. Following this instruction, Rohita went to the forest for 1 year. So Rohita went to pilgrimage sites. Text 19. In this way, at the end of the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th years, when Rohita wanted to return to his capital, the king of heaven, Indra, approached him as an old Brahman and forbade him to return, repeating the same words as in the previous year. So he's not allowing him to go back. 20. This is what we've read. I'll read it again. Thereafter, in the 6th year, after wandering in the forest, Rohita is wandering for so many years in the forest, then he decides to return. Rohita returned to the capital of his father. He purchased from Ajigartha his second son, named Sunashepa. Then he offered Sunashepa to his father, Hariścandra, to be used in the sacrificial animal, and offered Hariścandra his respectful obeisances. So, one thing about this is, in a later chapter in this canto, it's mentioned that Vishvamitra accepted the son of Ajigartha, known as Sunashepa, who was born in the Bhrigu dynasty and was also known as Devarata. His other name is Devarata, as one of his sons. And he's also ordered his sons to accept him as an eldest brother. So when Sunashepa was brought into the sacrificial arena, he prayed to the demigods for release, and eventually by their mercy, he was released. So actually, no human sacrifice took place. The demigods saved them. So there's no cruelty like that in the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the Vedic teachings. Although Sunashepa was born in a Bhargava dynasty, he was greatly advanced in spiritual life, and therefore the demigods involved in the sacrifice, they protected him. They got involved and they protected him. That's the reason. I'm reading from, this is chapter 9, text 30 and onwards. And I was also thinking that sometimes it's not so clear. Things in the Bhagavatam are not so clear. We know that Srimad Bhagavatam is a spotless Purana. It is our authority. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu teaches that. It's a Mala Purana. It's something that is so pure. It's most dear to the Vaishnavas because it describes the pure and supreme knowledge of the Paramahamsas. This Bhagavatam reveals the means for becoming free from all material work, together with the process of transcendental knowledge, renunciation, and devotion. Knowledge, renunciation, and devotion. This is actually the main topics of the 9th canto, which I'll speak a little bit about later. So anyone who seriously tries to understand Srimad Bhagavatam, who properly hears and chants it with devotion, becomes completely liberated. Srimad Bhagavatam is not associated with the modes of nature. It's completely pure. And therefore it becomes dear to the Vaishnavas because it's our shelter. So 9th canto is preparing us for that shelter, the supreme divine activities of Krishna in Vrindavan. And once Lord Shiva said that I may know Srimad Bhagavatam. Shukadev Goswami may know Srimad Bhagavatam. Vyasadeva may not know Srimad Bhagavatam. So the whole Srimad Bhagavatam is spotless. And it can only be learned through the process of pure devotional service. And not by material intelligence or any speculative methods or imaginary commentaries. This is not the way to approach Srimad Bhagavatam. So if I try to approach Srimad Bhagavatam by any other reasons but devotional service, pure devotional service, then I won't be able to understand it. So, and the topic of the 9th canto is called Isha Anukatha. It means the signs of God. So it presents topics related to the Lord, 2 dynasties, right? Surya Vamsha and Soma Vamsha. And also pastimes with his followers. And there are stories of different kings in the 9th canto. And they're described in more detail in different Puranas, which, if there's interest, we can look up and learn more. But here they are retold in a short manner. And the stories, initially they meant to help us to become adequately cautious of this effect of Maya. Kama, Esha, Raja, Esha. So Maya is very strong. Kama, Esha, Krodha, Esha, Rajaguna, Samadbhava. It's our greatest enemy, Kama, Esha. So Srimad Bhagavatam is preparing us to become free from Kama. There are so many different stories of different kings in this 9th canto. I was listening to a lecture by His Holiness Bhakti Vigyan Goswami, and he listed these 3 main topics of the Srimad Bhagavatam 9th canto. First is to increase our genuine bhakti, devotion to Krishna. That's the first theme, the first purpose of the 9th canto. And we learn how genuine devotion is distinguished, is different from mixed devotion, an example of Ambarish Maharaj. Then second purpose of the 9th canto is to increase our vairagya, non-attachment to the material world. Many examples here. For example, we'll hear about Yayati and even Lord Ramachandra. This story presented in such a way that we learn that even if we have an ideal family life, it's still not the way to go about human birth. We should be non-attached to family and material world. At least we should make an attempt to realize the Supreme Personality of Godhead, our relationship with Him. We can't really understand Krishna because Krishna is the Supreme Mystic, but we can understand relationship with Krishna. And that happens as described by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Sanatan Shiksha, in Shiksha to Sanatan Goswami. It happens on the stages from Ruchi to a Sakti and then further. In these stages we can get a glimpse or understanding of what is our mela, what is our relationship with Krishna is. That we can understand, but we can't fully understand the Lord. So the second one is, yes, to increase vairagya. One should by intelligence renounce the life of enjoyment. Srimad Bhagavatam 12:13, text 11 to 12 says, from beginning to end, Srimad Bhagavatam is full of narrations that encourage renunciation of material life, as well as nectarian accounts of Lord Hari's transcendental pastimes, which give ecstasy to the saintly devotees and demigods. Hearing Bhagavatam gives us ecstasy, especially if we pure in the heart, nirmat saranam. So this Bhagavatam is the essence of all Vedanta philosophy because its subject matter is the absolute truth, which, while not different from the spirit soul, is the ultimate reality. So when we read Srimad Bhagavatam, we come in contact with ultimate reality, one without a second. The goal of this literature is exclusive devotional service unto the supreme truth. That's why people sometimes they can feel the potency of Srimad Bhagavatam. If you remember something and tell someone from Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, just because you're repeating after great authorities and Krishna, it becomes very powerful, and it can touch people's hearts. Like yesterday I was at Balboa Park and I met a very nice gentleman. His name is Nicholas. He's a actually on the way to Japan. He's in U.S. Navy. And he was stopping by here in San Diego to get some training. Originally, he's from Denver, Colorado. So he has friends in Denver. And some kind of a religious union, which I guess I didn't do a thorough research to understand what it is. But yeah, they come together and they do some different, they read different scriptures together. And anyway, so they have a library. And he was thinking, actually what happened in the beginning, I met one other person who stopped at my table, and I talked to him before in Balboa Park. He actually has a tattoo, he's from India, has a tattoo, raised in America, of Radha and Krishna on his neck. Like really big tattoo. And one time he showed me that he had Radha on one side, and then he put Krishna on the other, no, Krishna on one side, and then he put Radharani on the other side. And he made it, like tattoo was just done the same day. And I met him at the park, and he showed it to me. And now, almost like months later, 6 months later maybe or something, I meet him again, and I tried to convince him to take the Bhagavatam set, but he said, I'm interested, but I can't right now. He also he works in sales, so he told me that I have good sales tactics to convince people. Basically, what I do when I try to present Srimad Bhagavatam, I just show them pictures. And in pictures, there's summary of the pastime. So I just say what that is, describe shortly what that picture is. And people like it, especially those people who are spiritually inclined, those who have heard of Krishna, So anyway, he really liked the pictures and really liked to have the Bhagavatam, but he couldn't afford it at that moment. So he said, maybe some other time, maybe next time when I see you, but don't worry, don't hesitate to show it, keep showing it to someone. In 40 minutes, he said, in 40 minutes someone will come and take the set. It's one of the most amusing and fun experiences I had on Sankirtan, I think. And so almost like 40 minutes later, an hour or so, Nicholas comes and takes the set. It's amazing. So, and he decided to take the set for his friends in Denver, so he can send it to that religious group, to the library. And he's spending 4 years in Japan, then he's coming back to the US, and then he's going to be in Denver, so you'll probably meet him and see. So I got the contacts, the address. I'm going to ship the set to Denver today after breakfast. It's amazing how sometimes in Sankirtan, it's a beautiful way to participate in devotional activities which are, you can say, spontaneous to some degree, because you don't know what will happen. Every day is a different day. It's like an adventure. You might have expectations, but it never works like that. If you distribute Srila Prabhupada's books, it's a transcendental activity, which you don't know what to expect. And to do that steadily and to do that with enthusiasm requires a lot of sharanagati, surrender. Simply because sharanagati means it's very simple. You have to give up your material, wrong conceptions of material, of your identity. We have a lot of wrong conceptions. For example, one conception that might be wrong is that we might be hesitant to go out because we think that people don't need these books. We're imposing ourselves upon them. But it's completely wrong, because people are looking for Krishna. That's what they actually need in life. They don't need anything else but Krishna. But they are misdirected. So, Sharanagati means to get free from these wrong conceptions and go and depend on Krishna. And every day we should try to do that, speaking for myself, that we should make a little bit of an extra effort to do something that pleases Krishna. It's essential. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he would offer puja to the press, book press, the printing press, and it would be more melodious and sweet to him than kirtan in the temple room. So in this age, our Yuga Dharma is to go out and meet people, to give them, facilitate for them to be engaged in devotional activities. Even if people just look at the books, even if they just hold them in their hands, see them, it's blissful. It's helping you, and it's helping the people. So, and that, I mean, I always feel so rejuvenated and fresh and alive in Krishna consciousness when and anyone can also feel like that if you go out and preach. It's the most amazing thing, depending on Krishna in such a way. So I prepared a few more things to say, but I'll conclude by saying the third principle, the third purpose of this 9th canto, which is interesting and simple. It's to experience contact with the Lord, or vijnana. It's by reading Srimad Bhagavatam, I can experience that I actually, Krishna is there. And the Bhagavatam is meant for me to hear about Krishna. And hearing about Krishna can help me to gain vijnana, realizations of Him. But how do I meet Krishna on the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam? How do I have such a faith? To make this faith alive, we need to come with someone who is a Mahatma, or someone who is who has that faith, who has that connection, has that vijnana. And just as the holy name is the goal and the practice, Srimad Bhagavatam is also principally is the goal and the practice. So while reading Bhagavatam, we become more cleansed, more purified, and more attracted. We feel affinity, affection for the teachings. So text number 7 in this chapter was mentioning that this world is miserable. Mamopetya punarjanma dukhalayama shashvatam, Krishna says. Birth and death, it's temporary. It's full of miseries. So what's the purpose of investing ourselves, our attention in this material world? Let's invest it in a Bhagavad Katha. And then Prabhupada says, but this Krishna consciousness movement provides the opportunity for the human being to get out of this material world simply by chanting Hare Krishna mantra, simply by doing that. So, but what's the connection of the Srimad Bhagavatam and the holy name? It's very clear that Sambandha Gyan, you need to understand what is our position, what is the position of Krishna, to be able to chant purely. Because you can chant Hare Krishna mantra, but without Srimad Bhagavatam, you can be misdirected. And the example of Allen Ginsberg, he was chanting Hare Krishna mantra. He went to India before meeting Srila Prabhupada, and he learned it there, but he wasn't chanting it for the proper reasons. His Holiness Ramapad Swami, he met him one time. He went to his program, he recalls, and he would say something offensive about the holy name. He would say that you become one with the chant. At first, there's you and the holy name, but then it's just the holy name. That's it. So in other words, he's implying that you merge into Krishna. So, yeah, holy name and Srimad Bhagavatam are very much connected. That's the whole purpose of Srimad Bhagavatam, is to Satyam Param Dhimahi, is to give us proper Sambandha Gyan, a relationship with the Lord. So we don't become just one with Krishna, but we properly directed and guided by Srimad Bhagavatam. It's pramanam amalam, our spotless authority. So whatever things we learn, whatever things we have, is all the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, who brought this mature fruit of Bhakti to us. That's Srimad Bhagavatam. So we should be very humble when we approach this divine scripture. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Maybe if there's anything.
I have a question. Maybe I heard it wrong, but you seem to be saying that, of course, this Rohita, he was saved. He kept postponing. And then I think you ended reading in text 20. And then he purchased from Ajigarta his second son named Sunakshepa. Then he offered Sunakshepa to his father Hariścandra to be used as a sacrificial animal, and offered Hariścandra his respectful obeisances. And then you said something about, but then it wasn't really a human sacrifice. You didn't read the end of the chapter. Next verse. Thereafter, the famous King Hariścandra, one of the exalted persons in history, performed grand sacrifices by sacrificing a man. That man was Sunakshepa, and pleased all the demigods. In this way, his dropsy created by Varuna was cured in text 22. And that great human sacrifice, Vishwamitra, was the chief priest to offer oblations, and the perfectly self-realized Jamadagni had the responsibility for chanting the mantras from the Yajurveda. Vasishta was the chief Brahminical priest, and the sage Ayasya was the reciter of the hymns. King Indra, being very pleased with Hariścandra, offered him a gift of a golden chariot. Sunakshepa's glories will be presented along with the description of the son of Vishwamitra. So indeed, there was this human sacrifice, and all these exalted personalities were very enlivened by it. I'm not reading any purports here, but probably, but they definitely had it.
When Sunakshepa came to that sacrificial arena, he prayed to the demigods and they released him. That's in the 9th chapter.
But I mean, it says right here that he did it by offering a human being in sacrifice. Maybe I have to study it more, read the purports.
I also find it odd that Srila Prabhupada words it that way because, it doesn't seem to fit the rest of the information that we're given, and that even Srila Prabhupada references elsewhere. So.
All right, so I'll do some more studying, but at least the impression is.
That was the request in English. Srimad Bhagavatam says that they went forth and Hariścandra offered, they even sacrificed them, God pleased. And yeah, technically speaking, in that language, you could see he went forth with human sacrifice and so on, but then, and it kind of like, you could see how maybe that could leave room, but not really. Leave room for what's given in other texts, and Srila Prabhupada references elsewhere about, Sunakshepa then being named begot after being took by Hariścandra. So, I don't know how you can get around that the wording in text 21 is not the clearest.
Yeah, that's further, I guess, maybe. Yeah, we'll continue hearing and exploring Bhagavatam. It's in more of this is actually chapter 16. I was saying 9, but it's 9:16. More of this we can read. It's called Parashurama Destroys the World's Ruling Class. So this text, beginning with 30, also describes about Sunakshepa and what I was saying, that he was saved by demigods. So we can look into it. But we can conclude here at this point. Unless there are any questions online. No. Okay, thank you for your attention. Hare Krishna.